Yeah.
Welcome back to the Gridiron Expert. Scott Frost is entering his 4th year at Nebraska, and he's compiled just a 12-20 overall record. 3 straight losing seasons for a proud blue blood program is simply unacceptable, and it doesn't look like things could change in 2021. So again, guys, welcome back to the Gridiron Expert here on YouTube, here to predict Nebraska's schedule and their record for this 2021 college football season. As always, make sure to continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos, and also make sure to check out everything down in the description below, including our brand new expert picks over on our website, thegridironexpert.com. The link for that is down in the description. Over 250 spread picks for you this season for one of the lowest prices in the entire country. Make sure to go give that a look. I promise you will not regret signing up. So we take a look at Scott Frost's squad, guys. Look, this is a Nebraska team that just needs to get to a bowl game. The Cornhuskers aren't expecting a national championship. They're not expecting a Big Ten title. They have 3 straight losing seasons under Scott Frost. All they need is 6-6. Otherwise, Frost's seat might be getting a little toasty, if it isn't already. We take a look at their roster. The offensive side of the ball should be a strength for Nebraska, right? It should be, because Scott Frost is an offensive-minded coach. But since he arrived in Lincoln, they have not had an electric offense. They have not had a fantastic offense. So what gives? The Cornhuskers averaged just 23.1 points per game last year. That was 101st in the entire country. They only averaged 190.1 passing yards per game. And I'm telling you, those numbers might not improve either. They returned just 3 starters on offense, and of course it all revolves around their quarterback in Adrian Martinez, a guy who threw for over 1,000 yards and 4 touchdowns last year, but does a lot of damage on the ground. Had 521 rushing yards and 7 touchdowns, a Nebraska team that averaged 201.4 rushing yards per game. The problem is, though, when you look at Scott Frost and this Nebraska team, they've had talent there, but a lot of it is starting to leave. J.D. Spielman left last year. Wan'Dale Robinson, their biggest playmaker, has now transferred. Dedrick Mills is now gone. Cade Werner, solid leader at wide receiver, didn't contribute much yet, but was a co-captain, is now gone. So they're losing so many key playmakers, both on and off the field, and you can't help but wonder, is this a Scott Frost problem? Maybe it's not a player problem. Maybe it's not a university problem. Maybe it's something going on internally. When you look at the defense, 9 are back for Nebraska. Certainly going to be a strength for them. Something that's going to have to carry them through the majority of this season. They ranked 50th in the country last year in total defense, but they allowed 169.5 rushing yards per game. And that is going to have to improve drastically. Jojo Domann is back at linebacker after leading the team in tackles last year. So is Will Honus at linebacker, and Cam Taylor-Britt, of course, going to be leading the secondary for the Cornhuskers. The talent is certainly there defensively, that hopefully at times they can bail out these offensive struggles. But the offense has to meet them halfway, because the defense, of course, will get run down. Take a look at Nebraska's record, guys, and their schedule. Let's go ahead and take a look at it. Let's predict it. Let's see if Scott Frost can just get 6 wins. It's all he needs. Well, they open up the year against Illinois on the road. And this game, unfortunately, fortunately, was supposed to be played in Ireland. Unfortunately, will not be played in Ireland now, of course, due to COVID-19. So the game will be held in Champaign. Nebraska lost to Illinois 41-23 last year. A bad Illinois team at that. That's inexcusable. That's unacceptable. And you look at this Illinois team now, guys, some could say they could be better than they were last year. I'm not going to say that at all. This is an Illinois team that's dealing with a brand new head coach. Anytime you're dealing with a coaching change, it's tough enough as it is. Brett Bielema, now the head man for the Fighting Illini. Yes, they returned 15 starters, including their quarterback in Brandon Peters, a stacked offensive line, Chase Brown at running back. Yes, the offense could do extremely well, especially playing this Big Ten style of football that Bielema is used to. But the defense for Illinois was their downfall. They allowed 230.1 rushing yards per game. And with a Nebraska team that's going to probably be very run-heavy this year, like they've been in the past, but certainly this year with a very depleted pass-catching core, I expect Nebraska to go on the road and defeat Illinois. They spoiled Brett Bielema's first game as the head coach in Champaign. Nebraska is 1-0. I believe they beat Fordham. I believe they beat Buffalo. I don't really think we have to talk much on either of those. Don't mean to overwrite them, but I believe Nebraska is obviously the better team. So they're 3-0. They're undefeated, and they are halfway to bowl eligibility. Of course, they haven't hit the bulk of their schedule yet. They then travel to Oklahoma. Chalk it up as a loss. Not to completely just diss this game. I love that battle between two former Big 12 rivals. I love those type of games. But I don't know if there's any team in the country, or at least any team on Oklahoma's schedule right now that can beat them in the regular season. Their toughest will probably be Iowa State. Oklahoma is scary good, guys. Spencer Rattler, Kennedy Brooks. Right there, just your quarterback running back duo is going to be good enough. We know Oklahoma is going to have one of the best offenses in the country with Lincoln Riley. Alex Grinch is doing a phenomenal job with their defense. Top 30 in the country last year, 7 starters back. It's in Norman. There's no way Nebraska wins this game. No way Nebraska wins at Oklahoma. And I don't mean to be harsh with that. It's just the reality. Oklahoma's that good. Nebraska then goes to Michigan State. They then travel to East Lansing to take on Mel Tucker and the Spartans. And there's a couple factors that go into this game, guys. First off, is Nebraska hung over after that loss against Oklahoma? If they lose to the Sooners 52-17, 55-10, however bad the game could be, are they hung over going into a Michigan State team that's going to improve a little bit in year or two under Mel Tucker? They landed Anthony Russo, the transfer quarterback from Temple. They have a very solid wide receiver and pass-catching core. And the defense, they allowed over 35 points per game, but they ranked in the top 60 nationally when it came to total defense. So not all that bad. And obviously Mel Tucker, a defensive-minded coach. This Michigan State team, I think you're going to see a lot of inconsistencies this year. Win some games, maybe they shouldn't. Lose some games, maybe they shouldn't. But at the end of the day, I believe that in East Lansing, the Spartans will defeat the Cornhuskers. I don't like that it's coming off this road game at Oklahoma. And I don't like that Nebraska is going up against a Michigan State team that's going to be a little bit more potent through the air. Michigan State wins. Cornhuskers then return home to take on Northwestern. And I like this game a lot for Nebraska. We're going to give them a win over the Wildcats. Here's the logic here. They played Northwestern last year and only lost 21-13. And we know how good that Northwestern team was. A Northwestern team that ultimately won the West, gave Ohio State a fight in the Big Ten Championship, and then annihilated Auburn in their bowl game. So we know Northwestern has the capability to put up some solid numbers and to play extremely well. The thing is, that Northwestern team that won the West, a lot of those key contributors and players are gone. 7 starters total are back for Northwestern. They're bringing in a transfer quarterback in Ryan Helinski. They did great with a transfer quarterback last year with Peyton Ramsey, but bringing in transfer quarterbacks can either be really good or really bad. We don't know what we're going to see out of Helinski yet. The game is in Nebraska. I believe Nebraska's defense has what it takes to shut down Northwestern offense that's going to sputter at times. And I believe this almost feels like a must-win for Scott Frost. At home, a winnable game, back-to-back losses. They need to stop the bleeding, and they do. They do at the beginning of October. They defeat Northwestern. They're 4-2. 2 wins away from bowl eligibility. They play Michigan at home. A very intriguing matchup because we don't really know what to expect from Michigan either. It's a Michigan team that defensively is very strong. 9 starters are back. Aiden Hutchinson up on that defensive line. I mean, from top to bottom on defense, Michigan is going to be very solid. But like Nebraska, it's the offense that's concerning. Who's going to be their quarterback? Cade McNamara, J.J. McCarthy, Alan Bowman from Texas Tech. Whoever it is, who are their weapons? Outside of Ronnie Bell, who are their weapons? They really don't have any. So Michigan's offense, like it usually does under Jim Harbaugh, might sputter a little bit. But when I look at this game, guys, even though Nebraska hosts the Wolverines, I have more faith in Michigan's offense by October 9th than I do Nebraska's. I'll say that right now. I have more faith in Michigan's offense by October 9th than Nebraska's, and I actually have more faith in Michigan's defense. I believe Michigan owns the edge in every aspect of this game except for home field advantage. And I think the Wolverines have enough to overcome that, and they defeat Nebraska on the road. The Cornhuskers then, coming off maybe an upsetting, close loss to Michigan, go on the road to Minnesota, where we also had them losing to the Golden Gophers. They only lost to Minnesota 24-17 last year. But Minnesota, to me, is trending in the right direction. Nebraska is staying about here, about level. Minnesota returns Tanner Morgan. They return Muhammad Ibrahim, and that's not good. the Big Ten running back of the year. Not good for Nebraska when the Cornhuskers allowed nearly 170 rushing yards per game. They return Chris Ottman-Bell. He'll be the number 1 wide receiver now that Rashad Bateman is gone. And the Golden Gophers return 6 on defense. And while their rushing defense wasn't all that hot either, this could be a game that's dominated on the ground for both teams. I believe they have enough at home to get the win over Nebraska. And I know you might be saying you're putting too much emphasis on home field advantage, but we're not. We're not picking out every team to win their home games and lose all their road games. But this is a year, 2021, guys, after everything we dealt with last season, where home field advantage will play a bigger role than we have ever seen before. And I mean that for every single team. Minnesota, of course, no exception. Nebraska drops their second straight. So they were 4-2. They are now 4-4 going into their bye week. It's not a horrible place to be. Again, if you're Nebraska, you're not expecting to be in the national title hunt at this point. You're not expecting to be in the Big Ten title race at this point. You just want to get to 6-6. And right now you're 2 wins away with 4 games left and another bye week on your schedule, we should add. So they come out of their bye and they play Purdue. They play a Purdue team who Nebraska actually beat by 10 last year on the road. Well, now the Cornhuskers get them at home, off a week of rest. So yes, we're going to give Nebraska the win. They're 5-4. This is a Purdue team, guys, that you really don't know what to expect from this year. I mean, it's Jack Plummer, Aiden O'Connell. One of them is going to be throwing the ball, maybe every other game. I mean, Braum has kind of been utilizing both when he can. They have an electric wide receiver in David Bell, but I like Nebraska's defense enough to shut him down. I don't have much faith in Purdue's defense to shut down Nebraska's offense, even though I don't expect much from the Cornhuskers at all this year, offensively. They then get Ohio State right after Purdue. We don't have to talk much on that. It's not a shot at Nebraska. It's not a shot at any team. Ohio State is the team to beat in the Big Ten. Cornhuskers lost them 52-17 last year. They're not going to win it even though it's in Lincoln. They're not going to beat Ohio State. And at this point, you can make the argument, yes, but Ohio State's dealing with no Justin Fields and their defense is shaky. It's November 6th, guys. We're in the final month of the year. Ohio State will have worked out their quarterback issues, and I think they will have worked out most of their defensive issues by this point. We know Nebraska's offense won't exploit any defensive issues that Ohio State has. Buckeyes went on the road. 5-5. Nebraska goes into a bye week, takes on Wisconsin on November 20th. That is going to be a loss. They can't beat Wisconsin in Madison, guys. Obviously, a very hostile environment. Camp Randall Stadium, a very difficult place to play. But when you factor in that Wisconsin returns 8 starters on defense from one of the best units in the country last year, top 10 nationally and scoring, rushing, and total, Nebraska is not going to stand a chance because I simply do not have that much faith in their offense. I don't know if Nebraska has what it takes offensively to exploit anything that Wisconsin has, and certainly not on the road. Wisconsin's that good. So they dropped the game against the Badgers, which means the final game of the year will determine if Nebraska goes bowling or not. Their rivalry game the day after Thanksgiving against Iowa in Lincoln will determine if Nebraska goes to the postseason. Last year they lost to the Hawkeyes 26-20. They lost to Iowa 26-20. Iowa has won 6 straight over Nebraska. 4 of those 6 have been decided by 1 possession. I expect another 1-possession game here. Nebraska is going to play their hearts out because they know they win, they live to see another day, they lose, it's done. 4 consecutive losing seasons for Scott Frost. No bowl game, he might even get the boot. You look at Iowa. Spencer Petras is back at quarterback. Tyler Goodson is back at running back. That's going to have to be a main focus for Nebraska's defense, is shutting him down. Iowa's defense, of course, is going to be one of the best in the country. Always is under Kirk Ferentz. They returned 7 starters in that secondary. Very, very, very strong. Again, I expect a 1-possession game in Lincoln here, guys. We've seen a handful already with Scott Frost at the helm. But even though the game is in Lincoln, I think this Iowa team is going to be way too physical and just a little bit better on the offensive side of the ball. And the Hawkeyes will come on the road, defeat Nebraska, and the Cornhuskers will fall just short and finish 5-7. Now, I know that's not what you Nebraska fans want to hear. I know you want to hear me say 6-6 or 7-5. But again, look at the schedule, guys. You could argue that you beat Michigan State on the road. Absolutely. You win that, you're going bowling. You could argue that you beat Iowa. You win that, you're going bowling. Outside of that, I don't see any game that you could argue that could be a win for Nebraska that we have marked up as a loss. Michigan State and Iowa, to me, are the 2 games that will be critical in Nebraska's bowl hopes this season. We have him losing both. Wouldn't be surprised to see him pull off an upset in one, at least upset in our eyes. But we just don't think the Cornhuskers are there yet. The offensive side of the ball, the amount of transfers they have, the lack of talent that they have, the struggles that they've had, I don't see those being fixed in 2021. And Scott Frost, again, will have his 4th consecutive losing season in Lincoln. And the question again will be, will he be able to live to see 2022 with his alma mater? So guys, as always, thank you so much for watching us here at The Gridiron Expert on YouTube. Make sure to continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos, and also make sure to check out everything down in the description below. Those expert picks aren't going anywhere over on thegridironexpert.com. Do not miss out on those. Over 250 of the most accurate college football and NFL spread picks in the entire country. Promise you're not going to want to miss out on that. Go sign up today. And once again, guys, as always, thank you so much for watching. And we'll see you next time right here on The Gridiron Expert.